sights to see for Hylissang for sure, but there is that Silas pick. Happy to see that it did come through for Mad Lions, and I think it is fantastic into what they're going up against. Kennen, the Maokai, there are situational uses as well for Blitzcrank with the Silence AoE, the fact that you also get additional scaling with the AP. Like, I think that the Silas pick makes a lot of sense and you have a lot of options. The matchup in mid will be a little bit trickier, but overall, looking good for the Silas pick.
I think their topside skirmishes are incredibly strong, though. When you got the Silas, Sejuani, the Renekton, a lot of opportunities to try and look for plays up there, particularly around Rift Herald, and that's kind of where you see, especially in the LPL, the Renekton saves Flash, they go ham on the Rift Herald play, try and secure that, and see if you can snowball that topside through that early advantage.
We hear the Fnatic fans in the audience, joined by that singular Eintracht Spandau fan. And some Carmine Core fans, unsurprisingly. The blue wall is here. We're going to get into our game 2. Mad Lions taking on Fnatic.
Okay, this Soraka skin does not look like Soraka. Okay.
I mean, that one looks like Sejuani.
That one looks like Sejuani, but when I saw Soraka running down bot lane, my immediate thought was, kind of looks like Jace. Right? with the color scheme, it kind of, it looked like she had a hammer. It looked like she had a hammer. I'm just saying, man. That skin is wild.
We need to get your eyes checked.
That skin is wild, man.
Recently?
I'm telling you, man. That skin is wild to me. Anyway.
Well.
Random sidetrack, but I'm sad not to see any crazy level 1 Blitzcrank. My solo queue games, I've always been invaded by a Blitzcrank.
But it's kind of predictable at this point. Yeah. So to truly out-mind game your opponents, you don't invade.
You don't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a delayed invade even. I know delayed invades with Blitzcrank can be pretty effective, but for the time being, looks like nothing too crazy. A bit of early vision invested from Razork to get some information on where Elyoya is. Oh, and Elyoya going to sweep that one away. He's still likely going to start on his top side. But something that we saw from 113 last time that Fnatic played this matchup specifically was 113 cleared his bot side and then immediately invaded onto the Maokai and used the bot prio to basically make his life miserable because the Sejuani has so much more trading power than the Maokai does in the early laning phase. I don't expect that to happen this game. This Hilly does get hooked in. Don't think Hilly's going to be too upset about that though, as both Kazi and Hilly walk up. Now that the hook is gone, there's nothing that they need to be afraid of. But yeah, it looks like full topside clear for Elyoya, likely pathing towards bot. May look for an early level 3 gank top though. We'll keep our eyes on him. Same thing for Razork as he clears out his bot side camps.
He is moving down towards this, the Krogs on the bottom side here for Razork though, which makes sense he's probably going to try and make some sort of play onto this bottom side. Maybe that hook at level 1 to see, hey, can I burn a summoner spell if Hilly panics or anything, but kind of low. I don't know if he fully wants to commit to this bot side.
We'll heal up a little bit as he takes down the Krogs, and there's vision here for Mad Lions. Wave pushing in. They fell foul of this a little bit in game 1 when they were trying to crash the wave, but with them actually managing to get the wave towards the tower, it becomes a little bit easier for them to dodge any possible gank. Elyoya looking towards this mid lane though. Wave not in the best shapes for a Sejuani gank. Could have just been covering, perhaps, if Razork had decided to go from bot to mid.
Yeah, I think it was just in case the Razork went for some sort of transitional gank in mid lane. He's there just to cover, and now will fall back into his own jungle. Knows he didn't really have to worry about timing because he'd spotted Razork after clearing 3 of his camps on bot side. And just looks, 3x4 is 12, so you can tell fairly quickly what sort of camps have done on the bot end.
Once again, we see the Kennen getting ahead in the matchup. This time, though, in Oscar Rinnan's favor. Chasey kind of getting a taste of his own medicine here in this matchup. Kind of to be expected. Kennen is just so oppressive in the laning phase. A lot of it does come from his W. The fact that on your 5th auto attack, you do get that additional charge auto attack that then apply that 1 stack, then you hit them with the W, and it's really easy trading. And if you can land the Q as well, stun them up, extra auto, and that's largely why they also go for that Doran's blade in the early laning phase. And again, like it's obnoxious, it's a pain. and you generally just have to go door and shield to mitigate as much of the harassment as possible.
Yeah, and it is a bit of a skill matchup in the top side where it's about trying to balance the ability to, hey, am I going to be in range to auto attack versus potentially Renekton just diving in on top of me, and it's very much that back and forth. So at the moment, Oscarinen doing a good job of keeping Chasey in check and not really giving that opportunity for the Renekton to all in. Razork even starting to move up here to make sure that Oscarinen can keep that control by trying to spot out where Elyoya is, but I would love if he could get a slightly deeper ward there, because you see Elyoya moving back up towards this top side, could try and make a play on Oscarinen as this wave starts to go in.
And just as you call it, Dagda, the ward will be dropped. I thought he was going to drop it in the tri-bush, but I think he's worried about Sejuani going over the wall, which Elyoya right now is about to do. In theory, he should be spotted, but there is that pocket of vision where you don't get spotted, isn't there? Yep, and that's it. Elyoya will navigate his way through it.
Okay, so he's now going to Arctic Assault
into
the bush. Unless the wave is pushing in which case you can just go for a full tower dive, but he can Q over into that bush.
Are they going to dive? They're going to dive!
Elyoya takes the tower, there's the stun, there's the CC. Oscarinen flashes, but Chasey flashes to chase him. And Mad Lions dive at the rat in the top lane and get first blood.
Unbelievable awareness from Elyoya. The fact that Oscarinen knew that he would try and go over the Baron wall, and he still gets around that. So impressive from Elyoya, so incredibly impressive. They find first blood onto Oscarinen. He gets Chasey ahead once again, and Medic, when we last cast the Mad Lions, we talked about how this team has struggled to get Chasey ahead. This was a team that they tried to, in their last best of 3, even bring Niski up to top side and play through him, and against Vitality, they just couldn't do it. Now, though, against Fnatic, they're finding so much success, and they're really enabling their top laner.
Advian has left Reckless all by his lonesome down towards this bottom lane for a while here. Razork coming in, Elyoya does manage to secure some, but there's the twisted advance. The hook has to be flashed by Elyoya. And it is part of the difficulty with it, like a Soraka Zeri lane, is you don't really ever have kill threat on the Xayah if she just stands back. So Advian can take all the time in the world that he wants just to be anywhere else on the map.
Now moving up towards this top side, they want to make a play happen. Chasey gonna just hit level 6 as this comes through. No flash available though. This is dangerous.
Yeah, Humanoid's on his way up here as well. Advian just enough mana for the Q. Chasey, no flash as you say. There's the Dominus early. Razork looks to take the tower. Aggro, Slicing Mouser coming in as well. The knock up, and Advian takes it. Not who you want, but Fnatic will be happy for the kill.
They really wanted to kill Chasey on that one. The entire squad nearly making their way up towards that top end. Mad respond well though. Niski pushes in mid. They get Dragon, and now potentially looking for the play into Reckless, who's still level 5.
TP available for Humanoid, so if Reckless can survive for a couple of seconds, maybe he can do something. Flashes away, there's the TP. The wave tanked by Hylissang. The tower, in fact, there was one minion left in that wave. Mad Lions able to get out, just getting the TP from Humanoid.
So Fnatic get an advantage top. They don't lose anything, but Reckless continues to farm alone. He is a little bit behind in gold, but this wave should help him out. Overall, though, Fnatic, that sequence of events was very clean. The fact that they invaded onto Elyoya together, forced him to go back to base, and then converted that into a top lane play off the back of Humanoid pushing Niski underneath this tower and forcing him to go back to base so that he also has to TP back into lane, means that they can dive top and then also react to the cross-map play bot, even though Humanoid knows that he's going to be behind in tempo, thanks to the fact that he keeps that TP. So overall, just a really smart sequence of events from Fnatic.
I actually really like this from Fnatic as well. Advian popped the Scryer's Bloom to force Niski to think the top side was safe. Niski then passed towards the top side. Razork comes in, and Niski falls in the mid lane. Really intelligent stuff from the Fnatic support and jungle.
And now the Soraka response.
Let's go, bananas!
So it's an actual silence for Hilly in the top lane.
It is. Oscarinen able to dash his way away from that one with the Lightning Rush. There is a huge wave stacked up here, and he doesn't have the Slicing Maelstrom, nor does he have Flash, and because of that, kind of has to respect the fact that Mad Lions are in the area. Lightning rushes away once again. Hylissang's bone plating is procced, but the wave is dying to the tower. One plate so far over to Mad as Fnatic look to react.
So you can see that Mad lost a massive wave top lane as a result of that dive that happened. And Mad now trying to do the same thing where you can't necessarily get kills onto Oscarinen, but you can force him to lose farm, which will inevitably help close the gap between the two top laners. You can see now only a 200 gold gap between Chasey and Oscarinen. So even though he did lose so much farm, he's still in a comfortable position thanks to being able to pick up those plates.
Niski, no ultimate for this, and Chasey not having Flash means that this is actually a bit of a dangerous one for Mad Lions, especially if Advian can pick someone off, but...
Glacier Prison just wide, Advian looking for something. Nature's Grasp coming out as well from Razork, but at the moment they're in a 4v5. The hook only onto Elyoya. The Rift Herald secured by the Mad Lions. Advien still chasing forward. Humanoid a little late to the party. Oscar Rinnick can slice his way through them. There's the stun. Good shock blast for some extra damage. Twisted advanced in by Razork, but they don't have the damage to solidify any kills. In the end, Mad get out and get the Rift Herald.
Just about. Unfortunately, Oscar not quite able to get into position. You even got Karzi pushing in the spot side as well. So nice job by Mad Lions to get in and get out. And this is kind of where, again, we see Fnatic starting off the bat well, but when it comes to these objectives, not quite able to get themselves in position. And it's been heartbreaking to see. Like, with every time Fnatic seem to look so good, they just can't quite get one or two more things going their way.
It's a very scrappy game between the two teams. Every time it feels like Fnatic.
Yes, Fnatic.
Every time Fnatic are able to make a smart move on the map, Mad are able to make a smart move of their own. And both teams going toe-to-toe in this early game. Small gold lead for now in favor of Fnatic. The Dragon is spawning in about 1:30 will be the next major objective you have to keep your eyes on. But Chasey, with this Herald, will be looking to, understandably, use it in the top lane. There is a world where he could hold on to it, perhaps look to group with his team in mid, and then drop it mid lane instead to help them secure priority, which then gives them access into the river. And as he's resetting, it looks like that he will be pathing back up to top. Let me have a quick look at the cooldown on his TP. Looks like that he's got, oh, the observers will do it for me, 62 seconds. So it will be up before the dragon spawns.
It looks like Oscar Innings is about the same timer as well.
About the same time. Thank you very much, observers.
I think the big thing, though, is the flash has been available for both these top laners. Like, your impact on Renekton and Kennen can be so prevalent on whether you have that summoner spell available. And Oscar, though, isn't going to be as strong as you typically expect. Is going that Riftmaker build, so going to take a bit of delay on getting to, like, Riftmaker into Cosmic Drive. But once you have those two items, you hit people 3 times, you proc your Cosmic Drive, proc your Riftmaker, and you do so much damage. So wait a little bit until this Kennen properly comes online, but when he does, he's going to hit hard.
It really is, and Humanoid currently the big beneficiary of gold. You saw Chasey taking a few tower shots that down towards, up towards the top lane, but Humanoid's about to back. He's 1.3k ahead. I wonder if this is first item completion for him. Kraken Slayer finished on Reckless. Humanoid's going to go back and get an Eclipse, and with 14 seconds on a Dragon, what a perfect time to start getting your mythics in order.
The only problem is, I was going to say Fnatic going to be late to the play, but Razork has seen an overextended Niski.
Thanks here, though. Razork is going to get the knockback onto Niski. Nature's Grasp, his ultimate available to him, decides not to use it for the moment. And I really think this next fight could be dictated by how the Equinox is used. It's so easy to catch out a carry if you stun them with the Renekton, put the Equinox down. They can't flash, they can't dash, they can't get away, and you can lock them up for a very long time. But Advien trying to lock up Niski, pulls him back with the hook, flashes away. That's the Silas Summoner down for the time being.
And this, to me, suggests that Mad Lions are willing to concede the Dragon. They're going to drop the Herald top, maintain this point of pressure in the top side of the map. Teleport has been used by Oscar Rinnin, which means that Mad actually have numbers advantage. Niski has his TP up as well. But I'm seeing the movement of Elyoya, and it is away from the Dragon. So this suggests that they're looking at a dive top lane right now.
I'm kind of surprised, especially when you had Niski with his own TP to get back. Chasey could even walk down towards that bot lane because the Rift Herald charge and then look for the Dragon play, but instead decide not to go for it. Can't really go for a dive either with where the wave's positioned in top.
I wonder if they'd had the Awaken TPs, maybe it would have been more favorable, but because you have to TP to the tower, I wonder if Mad was saying, we don't, even if we TP in, like how much of an positional advantage is it actually going to give us?
Yeah, I think with Chasey having the push in top, he was literally already halfway down towards mid lane, so I think he could have just walked towards there and then caught wave top for TP. But yeah, I mean, Mad Lions end up giving it up, give control again towards Fnatic on towards the Infernal Dragon, and Elyoya now trying to see if he can get this dive.
Oscar has flash, has ult, but the Glacial Prism will lock him up for the moment. Slicing Maelstrom coming out as well. There's the flash away. In the end, 2 ultimates for an ultimate and a summoner burn. You can actually see Razork with the Hex Gates looking for this flank position. The tower still stands. Razork has the Nature's Grasp, but with a minion wave coming in, it'll be very tricky for Advien to find a hook.
Advien and Razork have been a consistent roaming duo this game. I think Advien has spent, well, a very little time bot lane. Chasey's back, gonna get interrupted once again. The ultimate comes through, Chasey no ult.
And Elyoya on his way. Chasey, tank the tower. Razork looking for something, twisted advance. Chasey flashes forward, dashes in and gets the kill! Beautiful stuff from Chasey, absolutely isolates Oscar in it. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, you can see Hylissang and Kazi taking that tower in Reckless's face.
The ultimate from Hylissang was so crucial in turning that play around for Chasey. He just needed to build up that fury so that he could commit to the play. Earlier, he had skills on cooldown, which is why he couldn't secure that kill underneath the tower onto Oscarinin. This time around, though, he was ready, and they were able to get a punish. 2-2 is the kill score. Razork and the TP now coming in from Humanoid.
No ultimate for the Maokai. Chasey has the slice and the dice. Can try and use it through Razork. There's the twisted advance. Slices gets knocked back with the Bramble Smash. That's the power of Renekton. Can always just dash through you and get away from these sticky situations.
Timing there was very nice from Chasey.
Yeah, Matt have been doing a brilliant job of playing around Chasey in this top side, actually getting control now for the Renekton. 1,000 gold lead, keeping Oscarinin in check. We'll have to see if they can try and keep this one up as Gordrinker now completed. Humanoid, going to see if he can get the tower, but Chasey here to clear out the wave.
So when we kind of look at the game in its entirety, Chasey, once again, looking to get attacked. Or perhaps not. Razork actually just stealing away some of those camps. We can see that heavy investment from Mad Lions towards the bot lane. Overall gold looking in favor of Humanoid, but Kazi and Chasey hot on his heels. Nisqy, very poor right now. Really has struggled in terms of some of the pressure that's been thrown down, but also Humanoid securing so many plates in the 1v1 matchup has really benefited the Fnatic mid laner. He's going to have to, right now, be the big carry in this mid game. His poke is going to be important, as Oscarinin is the target once again.
It's like week one all over again. Constantly Oscarinin the target. Dodges everything, though. The lightning crash coming out. Kazi tanking the tower now. Alioya is going to do it afterwards. Radiant Virtue giving him a little bit of healing as Oscarinin looks for the trade. The permafrost, though, Oscarinin going a little bit too deep as he thought he could take out the 1v1. Meanwhile, Reckless coming in looking for a little bit more for himself. Alioya, flash available to him. Rooted up, gets to the blast cone, won't get away. Reckless with a double. At the end, chasing Kazi down, pulls him in, hooks him up. Could have gifted the kill, but sometimes you got to take those as a support.
It doesn't matter who takes them. Fnatic fight back against Mad Lions, getting themselves 3 kills on that bot lane. And we were talking about, hey, look, you need Humanoid to step up, but in this potential elimination game for Fnatic, it looks like everyone is stepping up to take the place.
I think it was just such an overzealous dive from the Mad Lions. They saw Oscarinin with no flash. They thought that, hey, this is easy pickings. This Kennen is incredibly weak, but let's have a look. Was it dodges or was it misses?
It dodges so much.
So, initially, the exhaust does come down onto Oscarinin. The ultimate goes very wide, I feel.
Okay, maybe it was a miss.
And it's Hylissang tanking the tower initially, but you can see they just don't have the CC. I think this is a bit of a misplay from Oscarinin. I guess he kind of gets funneled into an awkward spot, but at the end of the day, he buys time. And that's all he needed to do, to wait for the rest of Fnatic to collapse. Reckless then comes in from mid lane, able to secure the kill onto Hylissang and Alioya. And I agree, Medic. I think that this gold could have been funneled over, but you know what? At the end.
Oh, Master of God Hand himself. Reckless on a killing spree now.
He makes up for it.
Yeah,
He makes up for it.
Exactly that. He's like, oh, you wanted that? Let me just get you another one. Let me get you another one. Great hook comes in from AdVN. And Fnatic now break open the mid tower. And just like that, it feels like that the momentum has quickly shifted in Fnatic's favor.
With Dragon in 20 seconds as well. They can try and keep this one up. Looking for Nisqy. Doesn't realize that there's a ward just there.
X-Flash. Nature's Grass stolen away by Nisqy. Kazi will be up in 5 seconds time. Fnatic only 3 players actually in the river right now. You can see Oscarinin pushing in the bot lane. Wants to get that tower down as well if he can. Humanoid is answering Chasey, the 2 most fed players on either team, although I think Reckless might be moving up towards a pretty high goal total himself. Humanoid has TP, but now he's worked his way from the mid lane down towards joining his team. Looks like Mad Lions won't contest the 3rd dragon of the game. Fnatic will get it, their first Hex Drake, and puts them on 2 in total.
But Mad Lions had committed a lot of members down towards this bottom side, so I'm curious to see if they're trying to respond to Fnatic as they start to shift into this bot lane, because Chasey, in theory, could have been threatening that tier 2, but instead, looking for Oscarinin once more.
It's week 1 vibes, is what it is. Just everyone's like, okay, this guy's a rookie, we can isolate him, we can catch him out, and of course, Oscarinin, since that point, has shown why Fnatic have put favor into him, why they put trust into him, but here, he steps up without the vision line, dashes away with the lightning rush, Alioya on the chase! Okay, Oscarinin didn't dodge that one either. They're still going to be able to get him with the permafrost, but the slicing master coming out as Humanoid knocks Alioya back underneath the tower. Mad Lions trying to put some more damage down. They do have the wish from Soraka. Humanoid flashes a good double stun, but there's the wish. A little bit of healing on Chasey keeps him topped up for the moment as the shock blast is just a little bit short. At the end, coming in from the side here, Reckless going to use the Hex Gates to try and join with his team. But with there being a tower still standing here, it feels a little bit greedy to go deeper, Fnatic. Razork called out by Kazi, Reckless diving in as well. There's the twisted advance, and Kazi dashes over the wall. Reckless, you flashing for it! Into the lightning rush, the immortal shield bow is not there at all. Razork onto Hylissang. Pulled underneath the tower's grasp, but the nature's grasp comes out. Flash away from Niski, hooked in once again, and Fnatic find the fight.
Fnatic are coming alive in this game, saying here, this is how you use the ultimates, my friends. Immediately get the kills. Terror on bot side, Rift Herald's here. That's going to be both in favor of Fnatic.
Wow, and this play all started off with Mad attacking Oscar Rinnan. And you know what the difference between week 1 and now is, Medic? The boys are here for their top laner. All right, very quickly, Fnatic was ready to support their top laner. Humanoid was quick to respond, and in a 2 versus 3, they held their own. Right, we saw them going in this back and forth skirmish where, like, the second that he's getting collapsed on, you can see Humanoid saying, hey, you know what? I actually think we can fight this. Oscar Rinnan does what he can to create space. The damage is good from Humanoid. Niski is a little hesitant because the ultimate comes out from Oscar Rinnan. And Niski not having that ultimate means that a lot of damage is unavailable for him. The flash comes out from Humanoid, the flash from Elyoya, and then the collapse as we see in number 5.
Hello, hook back once again. TP's coming in from both sides, and actually that TP is going to be very deep from Oscar Rinnan. They dive immediately onto Razork. He's fallen, the slicing mouse coming out as well, but Oscar Rinnan doesn't quite have the damage. Humanoid trying to trade back in at the end, putting his body in the way, but his body is melted through, and Mad Lions turning around in a heartbeat.
It just looks so good, and then Fnatic toss it all away.
Fnatic, Reckless wasn't there. He has 4 kills. He is so strong, and you just picked a fight without him. Fnatic, this coordination issue is something that we have seen from them time and time again. It feels like that the game... How does the game get away from you? Like, you were in such a good position.
You've heard of a Lee Sin call of the queue. This is the call of the hook.
But just look
as
at the map.
soon as you land it, you gotta go.
Kennen is going top. Reckless is nowhere near this fight. And like they're saying, oh, we've got to pick on Sejuani? That's who we've got to pick on? Like, Elyoya immediately turns this one around. They melt through Razork, and then the TP comes in from Oscar as he's making his way top. But again, this fight is still at a numbers disadvantage. It goes from 3v5 to 3v5. Yeah. And Fnatic, you were in a great position to turn this game in your favor, equalize the score 1-1, and now you've given a Baron over to Mad.
Yeah, hook with an F in that case, and now you got Mad Lions who are going to get to push in. You got already Chasey down on this bottom side, trying to make sure he can keep up this pressure. So get the vision on bot, immediately push in, collapse on towards mid. It becomes very easy now for Mad Lions to get a lot of these outer structures down.
And a little bit of over-eagerness there from Fnatic. Immediately pounced on by the Lions. Still a lot of standing gold for Mad, only taking 2 towers so far. They'll try and use this Baron to its full effect.
I think it's important to recognize that given the deficit that Mad Lions were in, the fact that they got a bunch of shutdowns, they got a bunch of gold back thanks to the Baron, you can see that Kazi is 500 gold ahead, and now Humanoid, he's likely to lose his life.
Nature's Gas coming out. Will it get there in time? The Everfrost does its work. And Humanoid, I said it in 2019 in a side lane, Humanoid dies.
That he does, Medic. That he does. A quick collapse from Mad. You have to acknowledge, maybe they can't contest the Dragon, but it is spawning in 30 seconds. The teleport is available for Niski. Humanoid has just spent his, which means that Fnatic likely going to concede this one. Not the end of the world to them, though, as it will just equalize the Dragons 2-2.
Yeah, the reset's coming through. You have the Hex Gates to get into position as well, so Mad Lions going to have to get back out onto the map. I like that Niski stuck around in topside, though. Yes, it would have been nice to spend that goal, but I think actually getting potentially a bit more pressure here could be worthwhile, but is now going to actually take the reset and make sure they can keep the pressure up.
Obviously, Baron Recall's helping them out a little bit in terms of getting back in those Hex Gates as well, a possibility. Niski, he almost walked past it. I was looking at the mini-map that I do it all the time in my solo queue games. He's like, oh, I just passed down mid. Nope. Goes back, gets the Hex Gate, and as you say, Fnatic won't fight this straight. No real point for them to do so. And Honor's even now, basically in every metric between these two teams. Same kills, same dragons, basically the same gold as well.
But I think that the gold at the top is very deceptive. You need to look at the gold differences in the bottom of your screen, yeah, because Kazi has so much gold now. He's basically on par with Reckless, if not ahead. And then also in the top lane, Chasey is just so rich. He is so much stronger. The only real advantage that Fnatic have is their mid laner over Niski, who has gone for a very low damage build. But his responsibility in this game right now is to just steal away Maokai ultimate, steal away Kennen ultimate, and just be a massive CC bot to allow Kazi and Chasey to be the big carries in the fights.
Yeah, the fact that Kazi is near on those 3 items is going to be absolutely terrifying. And unless Oskirnan gets access to him, he's going to have a lot of free reign. It's kind of difficult for Razork to really be able to find access to the Zeri in that back line when you've got so many members that would be able to tank up the ultimate that comes through from the Maokai. Resets coming through here with the Baron buff now falling off. It's a case again, I think, wait until we actually get these dragons up and available, get that Baron up and available before we see any real action from Mad Lions. But I think Advian will be trying to see if he can get his hands on anyone to look for a quick pick.
It's crazy to think former champions now find themselves in an elimination match. Mad Lions are more recent champions, as Fnatic, I believe what you said, Medic, 5 years ago was the last time this team hoisted a trophy, to find themselves battling to avoid being, what, 8th place here in the LEC?
Yeah, Mad would get 8th if they lose. Fnatic could get 7th, I think, or would they still get 8th?
But,
yeah,
it's
7th or 8th.
For these two teams, former title holders, to be in this position, you can see how much the league has evolved and how much harder it is to go on top of the LEC.
I mean, the last time Fnatic won, Hilly and Reckless were playing on the same team, right? The only time that Hilly has actually won the LEC was with Reckless, and now going up against each other, trying to see if they can knock out their former teammate.
Of course, winner of this plays up against Astralis tomorrow to make it into our top 4. Humanoid trying to defend this bot wave as it does push in. Still a minute and a half before we get that Baron, so probably a minute and a half before we see a real fight erupt. This is more just poking, seeing if there's a weakness in the armor of your enemy, seeing if perhaps someone overstays, and of course, Blitzcrank very good at finding those picks in these sorts of situations. The issue always is, with Blitzcrank, vision is the name of the game. Vision is king, and if you can deny vision from your opponents, it makes it a lot harder to track where that Blitzcrank hook can come from.
Grievous wounds being picked up for Fnatic members to help mitigate some of the healing, as Razork going full healing himself.
Yep.
That is, he's basically like, I'm Soraka, but budget.
And with more CC.
Yeah, and with more CC.
And I don't look like Jace.
Yeah, that's true. Those at the beginning of the cast.
Well, we haven't seen all of his skins yet.
Yeah. But right now, Mad is setting up around the Baron. Spawning in 35 seconds. This will be a big point of contention. Niski steals the ult.
There's the Glacial Tomb as well as they look to lock up Razork. He does have to flash away, tanks the Nature's Grasp.
I will say, though, overall, not bad for Fnatic.
Yeah.
While they do lose the flash from Razork, they haven't lost any ultis. Whereas Mad have now invested 2 with the Baron spawning in 15 seconds. Now, Fnatic will have to make their way back into the river, but there's a real possibility here for Fnatic to be the team to force this fight.
Yeah, I think, though, that with Niski going to have his ultimate back up in a little bit, there's nice words
you're right,
behind. Yeah, for Fnatic as well, you still have to be very, very careful. Razork now potentially in trouble, but he goes in.
The boss going in, Fnatic trying to just jump in as quickly as they can. They get it through the wish. Fnatic kill off the enemy jungler. And again, it was Mad Lions a little bit split. They were trying a pincer maneuver from mid, push that through, come in through the top side of the jungle, but they couldn't actually enact it in time. Oskirnan now still has that slicing maelstrom, has the flash as well. The Baron secured for Fnatic at the end. The hook on Hilly! Pulls him back in, straight to his demise.
Great play there from Fnatic. They pick off Elyoya, they get the support, and now they'll get the resets in just in time for this dragon as well, and make sure the Mad Lions can't really contest it. Brilliant stuff from Fnatic.
I think Fnatic just used Mad's aggression against them. The fact that they did commit those 2 ultimates meant that Fnatic had a very clear window. Mad, after securing that control, immediately resets, and they were saying, you know what, we can't afford to fight right now, let's just wait. And in that window, Fnatic gained control, and it was a bit of a mistake from Elyoya to believe that he could move back to that space without his team, as it was Fnatic's opportunity to claim control. They find the pick, they find the Baron, and now it's Mad who's on the run.
Flash for flash, that's the trade you want. Makes it a lot more difficult for Niski to actually play this next fight, but in fact, it looks like Mad Lions aren't even going to play around this dragon. It is the only soul point for Fnatic, wouldn't be the soul itself. And with it being up in 8 seconds and all of Mad retreating, looks like it should be Fnatic's to secure.
There's not a huge amount that Mad Lions can really get on these side lanes, though. Sure, Zeri can push in, but...
Oh, wow!
They extended the range of Blitzcrank hook a while ago, and it still surprises me. Against the edge of the hitbox there. Huge hook from Advian. His last few moments in this game have been absolutely top-notch. Spotted Niski when he was waiting around the red buff, burnt his flash, then lands the hook on Hilly. And now 2 inhibitors, their prize. Fnatic probably won't play for the win here. We'll just play double inhib base or use the Hex Gate out. Razork though, wait a sec, with a Glacial Prison. Goes in with a Twisted Advance. Redemption coming out as well. Chasey Low has that GA to bring him back though. TP coming in from Oscar and is he Hex Gated out? The stopwatch, so much damage from Oscar as well. And Mad, again their aggression thrown back in their faces as Fnatic can look to end the game.
Kazi gets hooked once more by Advien, and without the carry, Mad alive. Fnatic are looking to end the game.
Razzle going in and Yoya going low and Yoya flashes out and Yoya dies. And Fnatic will even and out 1 game between them and a matchup with Astralis.
Fnatic and Mad will equalize the series. And I gotta say, gentlemen, Fnatic definitely threw quite a few times that game, but to their credit, they found great windows to come back. In the early game, we saw some great map movements. The way in which they set up the dives towards the top side of the map, the way in which they punished Chasey was great to watch. And I think that in that small pocket of vision where they used to try and punish the Mad Lions, we saw it in the bot lane as well when Reckless secured a bunch of kills. Like overall, I think that Fnatic found great windows to take advantage of Mad's over aggression, and they're able to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, even that last call, right? Who needs a dragon when you can take the game? They say, hey, look, we see this area on top side. Let's just go and push mid. We get the pick onto Hilly very, very quickly, and then they can actually just snowball that into a big advantage. So great job from Fnatic.
It definitely helps when Elioya then engages on you in their base and dies. It makes it a lot easier for you to close out the game. Good stuff from Fnatic all round though, and I think it's going to be a very interesting game 3 because it's going to be it's a battle of the throws, really, isn't it? And that's quite exciting to watch. We'll be back after the break with a preview of the final game of the series, Fnatic versus Mad Lions. You stay tuned.
As we move into game 3, what will be banned? And it looks like immediately the Mad Lions are going to continue to take that Olaf away, potentially for that cannon blind pick once more.
Yeah, that Annie-ban coming through again here on the red side, so Fnatic just keeping that one to themselves, making sure that it's not actually going to try and slip its way through the draft. I'm curious if we do end up falling back to things like, well, with the Xayah being banned away, if we end up seeing the Vi first pick coming through once more, or what exactly the plan is going to be here.
For the moment, just Rakan Xayah. There's the Jace taken away by Mad Lions. Don't want to give Humanoid that power that he had in the last game. I wonder if Fnatic will look towards banning out the cannon or even the Gragas. We did see that obviously banned out in game 2 after it had such a big effect in game 1.
What I will say is that I think Humanoid so far in lane against Nisqy has been the benefit.
Yeah.
I feel like that he has just had Nisqy's number so far in this series, and I think that removing the Gragas makes the most sense because you want to give Humanoid the most favorable matchup that he can get, and I think the Gragas just neutralizes a lot of mid lane matchups. So I think it makes a lot of sense. The Vi continues to be the priority for Mad Lions. In game 1, we saw Ahri and we saw Wukong being the primary choice for both of these teams. I was wondering if Sejuani may be a pivot here for Razork, focusing more on the utility, but it seems that Fnatic is saying, you know what, no, we want to make sure that we have this strong mid-jungle duo in the form of the Wukong and the Ahri.
And more than likely you're going to see the Zeri picked up here as well, just because you're like, well, chances are we're going to see the Sivir on the opposite side, so we can kind of take the Zeri and play for those later game fights. And as well, I think you kind of got to go towards your mid laner here. Although it'd be nice to go like Zeri, Lulu, and secure that one for your bot lane.
Lulu? For Hilly? Nah.
Hey, it's happened before, all right? Oh, okay.
Oh, the pivot. All right, so we're going to be moving away from Zeri, and we're going to be locking in the Jinx for Kazi. Will we see the return of Nisqy's Twisted Fate? Something that he lent on a lot when Fnatic made that run towards, I believe it was in 2021 that they made that run. Nisqy's Twisted Fate was something that you couldn't really afford to do, and we have seen it popping up around the world here and there, but it's not really been a mainstay in the mid lane.
No, and I think it does make a little bit of sense if you want to try and play for the Jinx here, because we kind of just said, hey, look, Sivir more than likely going to be the pick here for Reckless in that bot side. So if, I mean, it works well against the TF, works well against the Jinx, just has a miserable time against the Jinx in lane. So I think the biggest one is now, okay, let's just lean in towards that, continuously try and play for the bot side, let Jinx start to get towers, and always have this TF in the back pocket who can show up at any moment if you ever try and contest the Jinx's push.
But it's going to be Jax in the top lane for Oscar in. Picked up early in the draft here. It's a little unusual to neither see a bot laner or a support in the first set of rotations before we get to that second ban phase. There's the cannon ban. Can cause a few headaches for Jax up towards that top side. No real surprise that Fnatic want to take it away from Chasey's hands.
What this does do is it gives Fnatic the ability to counterpick support, which is not something that we've really seen from them so far in this series. We saw the blind Renata in game 1, and then we saw the Soraka in game 2. But now they can make the matchup in the top side slightly easier, given the fact that Jace and Olaf already removed. Then they get to remove the Kennen and the Malphite, and now for Chasey, you're looking at something like a Gnar, right? This is usually his go-to in a matchup like this. He neutralizes the lane, and if Mad do want to try and play through bot, then I think that that is definitely an easy way for them to do it. But I will say that if you have Twisted Fate Vi, I really think that you should be looking at something slightly more carry-orientated towards the top side.
I don't think it's the aura.
Yeah,
I mean, decent matchup into the Jax. I think you can play heavily there for chasing that top end if you want to. It does become a very much a skill matchup in that top lane with the Jax and Fiora, where it's a case of Jax starting to counter-strike, Fiora trying to find that timing window, because there is a little bit of extra time for the Jax where he can hold on to the so he passes through the riposte or he pops it early. So a lot of mind games go into that lane, but makes it significantly easier if you just got a TF to kind of nullify all that.
So I was just about to say, the Blitzcrank ban suggested to me that Mad Lions were looking at a Jinx Thresh bot lane.
Yeah.
So in response, Fnatic was saying, well, you know what?
We take the Thresh.
Sure, we'll just take the Thresh, not a problem. Now, of course, Mad could still go for something like the Nautilus, but Nautilus Jinx is a bit of a weird bot lane for sure. So we'll see what direction they decide to go. Cassante is going to be the answer up towards the top side of the map. Something that we did often see used into the Jax. I remember when he was just the mainstay blind pick top laner, something that Chasey has played a fair amount of. But yeah, I think a little different from what we were all expecting here in the
Yeah, less exciting than the Fiora, to be honest. Although we could have had Vin's Fiora again, and that would have been not the most exciting.
It depends on what year, you know. It's like
true.
a good wine. You get different years where it can make the difference. But
Mad Lions, though, look again towards an engaged support. Hilly is going to be put on the rel. Does give you a good amount of lockdown. The cease and desist from the Vi, the gold card, rel going in with the Magnet Storm, and we saw how experienced and how practiced Hylissang is on the rel in game 1.
Now, Mad heard... Oh, don't tease us. Come on, don't tease us.
You can condemn
it's gonna be
Rel out of her pheromancy.
It's gonna be... Oh,
Could be Sivir. It's going to be Sivir.
I mean, it's fine. I was really excited for the Aphelios, though, because I was going to make this great joke about how, everyone was really annoyed that the AD carry meta seems really stale, so let's go back to the last
really stale,
AD carry meta where everyone thought that was really stale. But no, it will be Reckless as Sivir. I would say you have somewhat mismatched bot lanes in the sense that these aren't supports that you typically expect with these AD carries. And I basically expect that these supports to not really lane much.
Yeah.
I expect them to be roaming around the map a lot. We've been seeing Hylissang and Advienne roaming a huge amount with the Blitzcrank specifically and the Rel in game 1. Both these supports like to be active on the map, and they like to work with their jungler whenever they see an opportunity to. But I think that Fnatic should have an advantage largely because of Niski on the Twisted Fate. The ability to attack side lanes, the ability to find picks is just so strong with this Mad Lions composition. But Fnatic's team fighting, I think, is where they have the edge. And when we think about how this series has played out, it's been all about the team fighting. So I'm quite optimistic for Fnatic coming into this game based on how we've seen this series go so far.
I think it's also just a case of where the hell does Niski play for? I don't really want to play because Brandon Cassante top. You try and play around bot, you're playing into a Sivir. She's just going to spell shield everything you
That's
do.
a great point, yeah.
I think the biggest problem is how do you actually try and utilize Niski now with that Sivir going into the bot side? It kind of feels like you maybe look for picks into the jungle, but it's a big question mark. We'll have to see how Niski's going to overcome this.
Both these teams fighting for their lives in the LEC Spring Group Stage. Mad Lions versus Fnatic. One win between you and a matchup with Astralis.
The second that the teams got into the game, Humanoid typed in all chat, Niski TF, star, 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 star. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the stars mean, but it would suggest to me that Humanoid is now worried about Niski's TF.
Well, there are two words. There's one that starts with S, which implies he's a very bad TF player.
Right.
And one that starts with F, which implies, oh my goodness, we gave Niski TF.
I see.
I think it's the second.
I see.
But it could be either.
Well, we'll have to wait and find out which Niski TF it is. But yeah, it's exciting to see him back on the champion. A reminder for when Fnatic knocked G2 out of Worlds, it was Niski's TF that did it. it was the whole thread where everyone was like, G2, why do you keep giving Niski his TF? It was a very controversial time. Niski and Fnatic did end up representing Europe as their second seed. Going into the World Championship, and I believe that was back in 2021. So we'll see how he does. As I mentioned, I think Humanoid has gotten the better of him so far in this series in terms of the isolated mid. 1 versus 1, running the Electrocute on Ahri does give you a lot of power in the 1 versus 1, and already we can see Humanoid looking to try and leverage that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Niski here is a case of, hey, look, I want to try and use the minion dematerializers on the back minions, so then 1 red card, and the Q should be able to clear at the back wave. You reset at level 5, TP back into lane, and just then you're on your way, so you can hit that level 6 and immediately play for side lanes. The biggest problem that you are going to have is, as you rightly pointed out, the damage from Humanoid. Already trying to trade effectively, you bring Razork into the mix. If you can get Niski to reset early, it's a big win in this matchup against the TF.
Love the way Humanoid's playing this matchup as well. Kind of what you want to do on Ahri. The mana costs are so much lower than compared to what they used to be, which means that just spamming W is such an effective trading tool. You proc the Electrocute as well. Niski being forced to use his Corrupting Potions already. The most dangerous thing about this playstyle, this heavy aggressive constant push in, is that you are at risk of getting ganked. And against a Twisted Fate, that's something you have to be very cautious of. No cleanse, of course, on Humanoid. He is running that TP. So this is something that Razork is going to have to try and assist with in terms of vision, and already we see Elyoya making his way towards mid lane.
You see Hylissang making his way towards mid lane as well. He left the bot side of the map. Elyoya is here. Humanoid is pretty good with the charms in game 1. Elyoya stepping forward, flash away. Gold card locked in. Razork coming in from the side as well. Humanoid trying to do the damage. Hylissang here as well. Niski will fall. It's 1-for-1 so far, but now Razork is caught in the midst of Hylissang and Elyoya, and it's a double for the jungle.
Brilliant roam from Hilly to make sure that he could secure the victory in what turned out to be the 3v2. Now getting Niski able to reset. He's going to walk back to lane, hold on to that TP for that level 5, and rightly stunned by Mad Lions to get this early lead.
It's just a great awareness from Mad. Niski kind of allowing Humanoid to get that push in, but also, again, we've seen it this series. Humanoid has just been hyper aggressive in the 1v1, and I want to draw your attention to the minimap. All this vision is invested on the bot side river, and Elyoya comes in from the top side. Humanoid wants to try and flash early, but Niski with the follow-up flash stun. This is exactly what we were just talking about, which is that by playing this aggressive style, you have to be careful of a potential early gank, and Humanoid got caught off guard with Elyoya finding that initial pick.
Also, just a slight thing for Elyoya moving in behind the Ahri means that she's not getting pushed towards her tower, gets knocked back slightly away from the tower, so they don't actually have to dive it. So just tiny little things there working out brilliantly for Mad Lions. And now we're pushing top side with a lot of control there. We'll see if Razork can try and disrupt it.
As you rightly said, Razork is looking for a play. I'll hold my tongue for a moment.
Chasey dashes away, Q3 expires. Razork hits him with a stick. Counter-strike coming out as well. There's the stun. Chasey still has the flash. Razork's tanking the tower here. Flash forward.
Always.
Oscar Winning looking for a little bit more. Razork's going to take another tower shot. Oscar Winning will jump away. It's an execute and a kill. In the end, yes, Razork dies, but no gold goes over to Chasey.
30 HP onto Skirnin, though that was so close to being a disaster. Unfortunately for Chasey, just doesn't quite time the invulnerability on the W with actually the CC coming through from Fnatic. So a little bit of a blunder, and it pays off.
Hylissang jumping forward, good play back. Power of Thresh into Rel. You can just stop her in her tracks like that. Does stop the recall. That was beginning to come out from Reckless and AdVN. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Chasey trading onto Oscar Winning again, and Tofu strikes will bring him back. The sheen from Chasey doing quite a lot of work here in the early game.
And oh, hang on. I was going to talk about XP game state, but we don't have time because already
it's all
Niski, Niski already. Look at him moving into Fog of War. Good vision placement from Fnatic to keep eyes on what Niski is up to, but he's going to start clearing out some of that vision. And Mad, okay, they're not going to threaten the dive for the time being. I think that makes the most sense right now. Elyoya just looking to steal away some of these camps. as Razork is making his way towards mid. Humanoid just pinged level 6. The timing is great for Fnatic. And look at this wave for Nisqy. The thing that I wanted to talk about earlier was how Nisqy, even after getting that, well, that early play onto Humanoid, the wave was pushed underneath Humanoid's tower, and he could TP and catch the whole thing, creating this pretty big CS discrepancy between the two mid laners, meaning that Humanoid wasn't really put that far behind. He also has a decent XP advantage, which he's trying to take advantage, or like make the most of in this window. But Razork couldn't really find anything alongside Advien.
Nisqy would love to get a reset, though, for those Ionian Boots of Lucidity before he tries and goes to make that big play. So that's why I think there was a lot invested there by Mad Lions to get that push so Nisqy can reset, grab that, and then look to make his first play on the map. Dragon up and available, though, and without that reset coming through for Nisqy just yet, maybe they want to see if they can pick Fnatic off as they try to come in to contest River Vision.
Can look for Reckless in this bottom lane. At the moment, he's by himself. Advien working his way around. We'll be able to get to this tower relatively soon. Reckless pops the ghost. There's the lantern. Nisqy. Oh, wild cards first, so that if he had hit the stun card, it would have connected through the spell shield.
And that's what we were talking about there in the opening of the game was, what do you try and play for as Nisqy? You don't really want to play for chasing the top side, and a great example of how it's very difficult to try and play around Reckless in this bot side. We'll get a little bit of presence here, so Karzi can get some turret plates, and maybe a bit more here.
Oh, Advien has to flash away from the flame chompers. He will escape. Humanoid on his way down here. Razork was spending some time with the topside Scuttle Crab, does secure it, now works his way down through the mid lane towards this bottom lane, but in the end, Mad got everything they wanted. They got a plate, they forced Reckless away from a few minions, and I wonder, actually, are they going to stay around here? They go back in, onto Advien, no flash on him. Karzi's going to flash away. There's the lantern, and Hilly, a little bit too deep here. His team had left, and Hilly went in. We've seen it before. Razork takes the kill, and Fnatic get their third of the game.
Terrible timing from Mad Lions. Humanoid had reset, bought, and had already made his way back out onto the map, whereas you had Nisqy, who hadn't reset at all, and was still trying to make his way back. So just Hilly overextending and giving that opportunity now for Fnatic to get the kill. Won't get Dragon, which I thought they would move over to immediately, but now Nisqy starting to leave towards this top end.
I mean, frankly, it's a comedy of errors on both sides. The fact that Fnatic was in nowhere near a position to punish anything on the map while they were setting up that dive, and then the reset comes through bot lane, then they engage when their mid laner and their jungler is resetting. It's just, Mad were in a great position after threatening that dive because Fnatic got literally nothing anywhere on the map. So all Mad did was create a discrepancy between the two AD carries. He was starting to build up a pretty solid lead. There was like a 400 gold lead for Karzi, which is basically a kill. Even though they didn't get one, they basically get handed that amount of gold over to Karzi, and then they throw it away by trying to force a fight where they didn't need to. And so Mad Lions now find themselves, again, like not in the worst position ever. It's not the end of the world, but these type of errors you definitely don't want to be seeing when your split is on the line.
Humanoid there realizing he needed to go the long way around to get back towards his tower. Rift held a possibility as Elioya and Hylissang join up once again. Knock back into the all-out as Oscarinin is just caught unawares. Chasey takes him. Hylissang and Elioya there for the assist.
And I was about to say, Fnatic are in a really good spot now. It's hard to try and play for team fights when you can't find a pick with Nisqy beforehand. Well, Oscarinin just gives them that, so now Mad get to move over towards the Rift Herald. Potential response here as Razork starts to lead down towards that bottom side, though.
You see Karzi backing all the way away from the wave. He will lose at least a plate hit. Probably one wave as well. Hook wide there from Advien. Razork coming in from the side. There's the charm on Hylissang. Flash available for the Rel, but you're so slow as soon as you come off the horse. Attract Repel, not enough. And Razork kills Hylissang once again. And I've seen less throws in a baseball game.
Yeah.
Fnatic, they find themselves another pick. Mad still in the gold lead for the time being. And again, it's an interesting situation where even though we're seeing a number of individual errors, the reality is they're not swinging the game either way. They haven't been dramatic enough to shift the game in either side, but you kind of look at Fnatic's comp and you realize that, hang on, but if we're in this even state where it's constantly like small advantages gained back and forth, I feel like it's Fnatic that's benefiting from this because Mad want to be leveraging their Twisted Fate to find picks. That's how they build leads in the early game. You kind of snowball off of repeatedly trying to shut down a single lane, and while Mad have found a pick here or there, Fnatic have done the same thing. Now again, it's not the end of the world for Mad Lions. We're still only 10 minutes into the game. Elioya will steal away that Gromp. and they're going to secure a couple of plates down towards the bot side. Nisqy has the ultimate as well, can threaten the dive, and with the Herald, this should be a big advantage gain for Mad Lions.
Nisqy just leaning into the fog of war there, gives enough control, but now he's going to go back towards mid, which means Fnatic feel comfortable to step up. Still a lot of gold going over in towards Carzzy.
Oscar Inin losing out on these 1v1s over and over. Grandmasters might for a little bit of extra resistances. In the end, can just dash away. Flash is still up for both the top laners. Chasey's ultimate about to come off cooldown though, and the Destiny always a possibility from Nisqy. Would have to start pathing up here pretty soon if he wants to use it. Chasey looks for the Demolish Proc. He'll get it on the tower alongside a plate.
Again, you're seeing the quicker reset for Humanoid though. I think they're a bit worried about going for the dive because he had the TP and a bot, but the Rocket, what can we get?
Chasey looked to keep Oscar in around there for a second. You can see took quite a lot of his health to do so. Razork on his way up here now as Chasey does get the knockback once again, but tanks another tower shot to do so. Dashes away. Razork though now collapsing. Chasey has the flash, has the all out. Humanoid on his way up here as well. Chasey's going to try and get away. There's the Cyclone, the knockback underneath the tower. Razork locked up for the second cease and desist is flashed away from. Destiny coming out as well, but already Elyoya has fallen. Nisqy joins the fray. Flash forward from Humanoid to get another in response. 2 for 1 for Fnatic in the top lane.
Wow, another skirmish happens on the top side, and Elyoya, in trying to protect his top laner, who was successfully able to create space between the collapsing Fnatic, ended up dooming himself as he found himself in the middle of 3 Fnatic members. Nisqy, though, with a quick response, is able to get that kill onto Oscar Inin. But Humanoid, he did a play that Chasey was not expecting and ends up being a 2 for 1. Again, though, Mad is still continuing to find these edges when it comes to the gold. You can see in the top lane, thanks to all those plates that Chasey's been securing, Mad are slowly but surely getting slightly further and further ahead, which is definitely what they need as they continue to look for picks on the map.
The thing is, though, Fnatic are fully going to play for team fights, right? When you look at Humanoid's build, he's going for the Leandri's Anguish. He wants to be able to deal damage, even with the Electrocute. So you're still kind of waiting for Fnatic to go, cool, once we actually get to these full-on 5v5s, that's where we're going to be able to shine. And Hilly is not helping in the situation by getting very, very far forward every single time and nearly getting caught out by Fnatic.
Does make Reckless have to walk a little bit further through his jungle, so the tower does fall in that bottom lane. Oscar Inin now trading onto Chasey once again. So far, has not been in Fnatic's favor, these 1v1s in the top lane. And the Q3 just short, but Chasey already finished his Iceborne Gauntlet, whereas Oscar Inin is still waiting to complete that Divine Sundra.
Still, Chasey, the fact you have this much control makes it really difficult for Ascarian to actually try and push up far enough where you're not in danger of a dive from Nisqy or anything else coming through. At the moment, though, with the way the map state is, with Fnatic having control over this mid-wave, you still have Nisqy now exiting into the bot side, so it's going to be a little bit more about trying to get control over bot side jungle so Nisqy can lean in towards mid lane, but Rift Herald going to Fnatic is also going to be a big boon for them.
We take a moment of reprieve after both these teams have been battling back and forth in this early game. As we mentioned earlier, a small goal lead in favor of Mad, but nothing too insurmountable really for Fnatic to overcome. I'm looking at some of the items that have been completed. Carzzy, after picking up that bot tower, was able to complete the Kraken Slayer, which means that with the dragon spawning in a minute's time, you will have that item over Reckless.
Reckless just wanted to be full build. Had to fill up every slot before you could complete the Kraken Slayer. Yeah.
Makes sense, makes sense. Mad, though, moving into the top side of the map, threatening a dive. You can see all the pings. They will spot Razork out, and the rest of Fnatic are quickly on their way to support.
Humanoid's down in the bottom lane and doesn't have TP. We've seen Fnatic take fights at a numbers disadvantage, especially in game 1. Here, they're looking to try and defend their top laner, but is it going to be the right play to make? Tower falling lower. Chasey stepping in. Tower will be forfeit. Chasey gets the knockback. There's the Lantern onto Oscar Inin to make sure that he is no longer isolated against the rest of Mad, but it's another tower that does go down in favor of Mad, and their gold lead extends to about 2.5k. Should be evened out a little bit, as Humanoid will be able to take bot tier 1. But actually, Nisqy is on his way down here, so Humanoid might have to be a little bit cautious.
I'm surprised Fnatic invested so many resources towards the top end, though. They had a ton of vision up towards that Rift Herald, and the fact that you spotted Mad move the entire way up meant you could have just given the tower and tried to play for mids, play for dragon control, cross-map in any way, shape, or form. They do get the tower, but I think the fact you don't have vision now for this upcoming objective kind of sucks a little bit for Fnatic.
Yeah, it's a bit The macro's a bit wonky this game. Typically, as you rightly said, you would expect a cross map, right? Oh, you're going to go take our top tower? That's fine. We'll take bot tower and we'll also take the dragon. And you'd think overall that that'd be a big win for Fnatic, but they're trying to match. You know, they're trying to follow, and they're just like a step behind Mad Lions. Now, you look at them again here, they can't contest this dragon. Why? Oh, because Oscar Renin needed to reset. He didn't have an opportunity to earlier because he was forced to catch this top wave. Like, Fnatic are, I think on the one hand, trying to mitigate the damage that Mad can do.
Yeah.
But in the same vein, like, they need to be aware of what advantages that they can gain on the map. And again, like, maybe in review it showed that Fnatic didn't actually have a clear window to secure the dragon, but overall, like, Mad are the ones controlling the map right now.
But this is also going to bleed over now into the Rift Herald, right? Because you've only got Oscurin that's exiting into the bot side here. Niski gets the push in, he resets, now he can threaten the potential pick here if Fnatic try to go for this. They're moving Oscurin up, but they're very late.
And Niski at the tier 1 right now will have that destiny. The Rift Herald down to 2,500. Flame Choppers come out, Razork stepping forward, Rift Herald secured. Hylissang with a 2-man knock-up, there's the Destiny coming out as well. Hylissang locked up though, and he's already fallen. Niski, Destiny's into the backline, Razork going forward, stun card on him, he's locked up, he's shut out of the fight. Kazi dashing, dodging, weaving, but he can't get away from Humanoid. Chasey now opening up, Reckless trying to do the same. At the moment, it's a 2 for 2. Reckless stunned up, the Rift Herald secured by Mad Lions, and in the end, both teams walk away.
Mad don't spot Oscurin moving up from the bot side, and it ends up going up, but Avian now calls.
Avian, flash gold card, no escape for him. Mad Lions come up trumps.
It ends up working out for the Mad Lions, but you have to wonder, Fnatic, there was a window again where you could have traded objectives. We kind of look at the maps, they once again, like, mid is an opportunity for you to play for. Look to play for the mid tower. Instead, they look for a fight with which it is engaged by Hylissang. And that engage looks pretty promising at the start, but Reckless very quick to shut Hilly down. Great cleanse from Kazi as he's getting collapsed on. Humanoid committing all his resources to get down onto the AD carry as Eljoya makes a great play to lock up the jungle top laners of Fnatic to make it impossible for them to play the fight. It ends up being 3 for 3. A lot of summoners are burnt, and it would have been a pretty even fight overall with Mad walking away with the Herald, but then at the end gets caught out, doesn't expect this to collapse to come through from Mad. And it's an easy extra pick for Mad Lions, with them ultimately winning out in the team fight.
And in theory, Fnatic should be able to win out those ones, but because Oscurin was set so far behind, you can see the difference in the damage. He's not really able to play frontline in these fights in the way you would really like him to, even being a big threat to the backline. So the Jax being behind, kind of coming back to bite Fnatic in that equation. And now, with that Rift Herald in tow, the side lane split push tempo team has full control over this.
I mean, I'll also say that Razork was completely shut down by Eljoya in that fight. The fact that Eljoya was able to ulti Razork immediately to prevent him from getting on top of his AD carry was just such a great decision, because it also then, he followed up with a Q and hit both Oscurin and Razork together, and it just made that backline dive threat so much harder for Fnatic to execute. So huge props there to Eljoya. Mad have blown this into a 3k gold lead. They can now break open the mid tower using this Herald, and that's exactly what they're going to do right now. You can see Oscar sitting in the top lane, catching that wave, and once again, Mad dismantled Fnatic by playing the map very well in game 1, and they're looking to do the same here in game 3.
Rifthold does charge in. The tower does fall. Rifthold won't get a second charge. Fnatic should be able to stop this one before it gets towards their tier 2. Oscar in a little bit late. Gold card locked in for Niski. Counter-strike coming out as well as Humanoid looks for the flank with the cease and desist. Immediately lands on him up towards the top side, though the cyclone coming out. Niski quite low already. Chasing down to half HP as well with a knockback onto Razork is enough. Oscar locked in the Magnet Storm. Super Mega Death Rocket does find his mark but doesn't quite find the kill. All out across the wall as Oscar will fall as well. Humanoid trading down towards the bottom side. Hylissang survives through it all. Hylissang still alive. Mad Lions absolutely clean up. Reckless dives and dies, and Mad Lions can push in the tier 2.
Mad Lions refuse to be denied in this one. Another great fight for them, and now they get to take control over not only these turrets on the mid and top, but also Dragon in a minute's time. And the fact that they've so consistently managed to find these opportunities is incredible for this squad.
It's just Mad are playing so well around Kazi. They are protecting their AD carry incredibly well, and he's giving them so much team fighting power. I expected Fnatic to be favored in the 5v5, but watch how this fight plays out. You can see the engage initially starts with Humanoid trying to find a good flank, then a good hook onto Niski, but the immediate follow-up from Chasey and the Zonius as well. And just look at Kazi, under no threat whatsoever, completely on the back. Look at this wall that just sits in front of him as he is just free to dish out the damage, and Fnatic feel scattered. Kazi does get collapsed on by Oscar, but then immediately the top liner there to peel for him as well. It's like protect the president, you know what I mean? Every time anyone gets close to him, and we saw that in the last fight as well. Great team play from Mad Lions, and they end up coming out on top.
You can see the damage that Kazi put out there, almost 4K for him. That front line working wonders now. Dragon up in 1 minute, 1 second's time, in fact. Will be the second of the game for Mad Lions, and Fnatic very much on the ropes. They've been knocked to the floor. Let's see if they can get back up, because right now it's Mad Lions who have a date with Astralis. Best of threes tomorrow for that playoff spot. On the hunt from Reckless, the Dragon taking out, Humanoid diving in as well. It's a meat grinder in the Dragon pit. Kazi trying to do it, the damage down. Kazi surviving in the end, he will fall to Reckless. Hylissang dies to the Ignite as well as Oscar winning, trading on to Chasey down towards the bottom side. The counter strike goes in, Chasey flashes forward for another kill. Reckless has to get away from the gold card. The great hook! Reckless trying to survive through it all, the spell shield, the stopwatch, the lantern, the stun card! And another hook! It's not enough to save Advia. Niski diving under the tower. A hook goes down, Niski takes another. Elioya takes it. Niski falls.
The creeps! The creeps!
Does he die? 28 HP. He will not fall to the creeps autos.
Red Buff OP in that one. Holy moly.
Wow, and Mad Lions walk away victorious after another fight. It's Fnatic getting desperate. They see the Dragon, they want to contest it. Great placement of the Chompers. A flash is committed from Ransom, but look at the CC again. Kazi, he just, so much is thrown at him, but the combination of Elioya and Hylissang to protect their AD carry for as long as possible. Kazi's able to get the kill onto Humanoid, who ends up getting traded back. But the damage is done. I'd love to see the damage after that fight, because what's incredible is Kazi, even though he was getting so focused down, was able to dish out so much damage, and so much credit needs to be given to his team. No spell shield means that Niski's able to lock down Reckless, and this dive was a little sketchy. The hook and the tower actually getting the kill onto Niski, but the heal came through, and Mad Lions walk away victorious.
Had very happy with that one.
Chasey, though, caught up towards this bottom side. Cyclone coming out as Chasey tries to get away with the Pathfinder. Now has the all-out, can try and use it, but the Cyclone will lock him out, and Humanoid gets the shutdown. Meanwhile, the Baron has been begun. Humanoid does have the TP if he wants to come across to this. Advian puts the Lantern in to see that it's occurring. But I don't really think that Fnatic have a way into the pit. They don't have a smite, and they don't have a way to secure it. The Destiny, though, and Advian stayed around too long. You can see what he was thinking. Maybe I get it with a Q. Maybe I pull my team back into the game. But sometimes the maybes can bite you, and it does exactly that.
But you can see on top side, Oscar's still sticking around, and it looks like maybe Mad Lions thinking of going for a pick on him. They're kind of caught between both decisions. Do we push mid? Do we look for top? Hilly just watching Oscar and walk away. I don't know how much they can miss.
In 1 second, there's a ward there for him. He's going to TP in. I wondered if Elioya and Hylissang could do it, just the both of them, but Chasey here as well will mean that Oscar Inin should fall. Pops the counter-strike, trying to put the damage back down with the cease and desist. Will lock him up in time for Chasey. Humanoid goes in with a charm, that's going to land. Reckless trying to put the damage down as well as Razok is coming in from the flank. Fnatic feel that perhaps this is their moment to get back into the game. The flash away from Elioya, he's down to 150, but a Magna Sword from Hylissang stops Fnatic in their tracks. He will pay for it with his life, but he gets his jungler out. Humanoid, though, dashing back forward with the Spear Rush. Kazi putting the damage down now. Kazi trying to trade in the Cyclone, not enough to keep him alive. He'll get one in response.
Overzealous from Kazi as Fnatic actually get 2 in exchange for 2. When you're this far behind, you'll take that trade as Niski secures another tower bot lane. Crazy back and forth. Mad, I think we're just a little too aggressive after securing the Baron. They will get themselves another tower though, and they will maintain control over this game. Oh, it's Elioya looking once again.
Humanoid should just be able to take the Lantern and get out of this. Now, Niski does have Destiny. Advian gonna back in this top bush and will be able to escape. Let's have another look at this fight in the top lane, because after Oscar Winin's caught, you can see Fnatic calling for reinforcements.
And you can see they're just waiting for Kazi to try and get into position here as they run away. They get the kill on Oscar and Humanoid with a good CC on towards Elioya, but just not quite able to close the distance as quickly as they would like. Kazi does eventually get here, but actually positions himself in a bit of an awkward spot where, yes, he gets some good damage down as Hilly goes in, but as this fight starts to continue, he spends so much time dodging back and forth for Humanoid, he hasn't really got anywhere else to run as the rest of Fnatic close the distance, just about managed to finish him off in time.
Man, every shot a crit there from the Jinx as well. It's truly a fancy for him. Chasey going in here. Advienne trying to get away. The on the hunt popped. There's the super mega death rocket, and Reckless will fall. Caught out, it seems, as the fight begun. The cease and desist onto the backline. The Destiny in as well by Nisqy. He follows the gate, and Humanoid solo Spirit rushes back in. They manage to get the shutdown though. Nisqy going forward. Razor's going to try and lock him up, but Nisqy tanks the tower for a couple of shots, and now it's Hylissang's turn. At the end with the hook goes wide. Razor chasing onto Nisqy. Needs another order. The tower will do its job. Razor falls, and in the end, it's a 5-2 in favor of Mad.
Big team fight once again for Mad, and it all starts with getting a pick onto Reckless. Fnatic continue to try and fight back, but it is Mad that is winning out every time. The early fights, it felt like that Kazi was the main damage dealer, but now that Nisqy is unleashed, Nisqy coming in from multiple angles, Elyoya creating so much chaos, the entire team continues to come together. And look, this is just, hey, we can catch Chasey out, and then Chasey's like, no you can't. Nisqy and Hylissang collapse from the mid lane, the stun lands, and then it's a one team fight for Mad.
Yeah, I mean, this is the big fight that Mad want to try and play for, where Fnatic overextend just that little bit, you immediately get to collapse with the TF, and it's just phenomenal stuff. The fact they are able to so quickly get into position, and Karzi, again, free firing in the backline. And this was a very risky composition for Mad Lions to bring out in this game 3, the elimination game. And they rely on Karzi, and with Nisqy able to control on this Twisted Fate, maybe Humanoid was right in what he wrote at the start of this game.
147 damage for Reckless.
Just entirely locked up by Chasey, by the Destiny coming in. Basically made it impossible for him to play the team fight. He is at 3 items now, but so far it has been the Mad Lions show. It's been the Kazi show in this game in particular. The attract repel as well. Elyoya goes in, cease and desist. They're looking for the stun. The hook goes wide. There is the gold card as well, and you just don't get a chance to get out of the CC. 1-for-1 trade so far.